Welcome to the Dug in a Pub podcast, where I share thoughts, stories, and conversations about my life and my journey post-suicide attempt.
I'd like to begin with a fact.
So pull up a stool and let's see if we can change the world.
I'd like to begin with a fact.
On today's episode, I'm going to go back to a little bit more about word choice. The words are hope and wonder. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about affection. And then I'll probably wrap it up from there. One of the things I spent a lot of time on, and still do, is word choice. You know, as I was trying to figure out how I work in the world again, I realized how much the words I use, both internally and externally, affected my mood, my feelings, my interaction with the rest of the world. And one of the words that I thought about was hope. You know, it's a big word. A lot of people use it. You know, I have so much hope for the future. I have so much hope for this. I hope this or that happens. And I started to really, kind of parse that word and what it means and the emotions that went with it. And for me, what I started to realize, that every time I used the word hope, it always had the baggage of disappointment. I think that's the right word. Disappointment to go along with it. I hope this happens, but if it doesn't, then there was the corresponding negative emotion that went with it when that hope was never realized. So I started trying to come up with what word would be a better word instead of hope. I thought about joy or happiness, but again, those don't fit the situation. So what I've started to do is I've started to use wonder. And that seems to be a really good replacement for me. I don't hope if something will happen, because like I've said, hope, and then there's the corresponding negative if you don't hit that hope. But wonder, to me, wonder is a great single-sided word. I wonder if I'll get the job. I wonder if my friend will call. I wonder if they're doing okay. I wonder if this amazing thing will happen. But there's no negative side to that wonder. It just, I wonder. And then if it happens, it's like, oh, that's amazing. And if it doesn't, it's like, okay then. It doesn't seem to tie baggage to the whatever event in the future, the thing in the future is. Wonder seems a much lighter word than hope. So that's kind of the real nutshell on hope and wonder. So when I tell people I'm hopeless, they always look at me funny, and I'm like, no, it's the best thing ever. I've learned how to live without hope. And they kind of tilt their head at me like, how do you do that? And I know, wonder. I'm in a world of wonder. I live a wonderful life. I wonder at everything. I look at interviews with the Dalai Lama and some other monks and these other people, or Desmond Tutu, these other people who live in this really amazing spiritual place. And not that I'm saying I am. I'm just saying this is where I first started to think about this. You look at, the Dalai Lama, I mean, he's just so full of wonder all the time. It's like every time something happens, he treats it as it's the first time it's happened. And it's just, there's so much wonder and joy on his face. It's just the tiniest things. And that's what I've tried to look at with this whole wonder thing, is to look at the world every time something happens. It's like, oh my God, it's amazing. Like, people talk about, well, we don't know that gravity's going to work tomorrow. No, and when it does, it's always, oh, it's amazing. It works again today. It's like, wow, it's wonderful. Just try to be hopeless. Live in wonder. It's just, seems to be a better place over here. The word affection, which I actually meant to look up, and I'm going to stop this and do that. So here's the Merriam-Webster definition for affection: a feeling of liking and caring for someone or something, tender attachment. So when I think about the word affection, and I think about showing affection for people, we live in a world where it seems to be relatively taboo to show affection to other people. I mean, your partner, absolutely, your parents, your children, but as soon as you start to move out of that immediate family area, it seems to be more and more frowned upon. One of my best friends, we used to hold hands. We'd walk arm in arm. We'd walk with our arms around each other. It was awesome and wonderful. And it had I think most people looking at that would think we were dating, or there was some sort of, there was more to the relationship than just we were showing affection for each other. And we did it by holding hands and just showing each other we were there in those touches, because touch is so important and it's so taboo and so shunned upon. Not in other cultures, but in the States, it seems to really be. If I have a friend and I want to hold her hand, I can't. And I want to. There's so many times I'd love to hold my friend's hands, but society says no. If it's a girl, I can't, because then what am I trying to start a romantic relationship? If it's a boy, then people think, wow, he was gay or something. Again, then I seem to not be allowed to show the affection for people I want. And I have few friends where I can. My friend Ian, we'd stand next to each other. We'd have our arms around each other, but we stood next to each other. It was awesome. I think that's the only male friend I have where I can do that. I have male friends where I can say, I love you, but that's different to me than being able to show affection. And I don't know how we change the world to make that okay. The female friends that I can show those physical forms of affection to, it's wonderful. It's so comfortable, and it's just that extra added thing to, I just want to let you know I love you, and I'm here for you, and I'm listening, I'm paying attention. I get it. It's making yourself not just present, but showing them and touching them and connecting and really, really being present in those moments. I try to do that whenever I can, but again, it's everything the media shows us, everything romantic comedy shows. There's so many things that say you can only show affection in these situations. Your spouse, your girlfriend, your family, your parents. That's it. And past that, you get looked at funny. So it'd be great if we could change that. Brett and I often wear free hug shirts, and I do that because trying to break down that wall of it's okay to show affection to people. It's okay to hug people. There's no taboo to it. And of course, like everything, you can't just go hug random strangers. You have to get permission. Never without consent is probably one of the most important phrases we can ever use in life. But I wear that free hug shirt because it lets me show affection to, even if they're random strangers. I mean, I love everybody. I think every human has value. I think every human deserves the same opportunities as every other human. We're far from that, but that's my belief, and I try to make the world, I try to be the example towards that. We were recently at a beer festival, and I had a free hug shirt on, and I got some nice hugs, and before that I wore a free hug shirt at a food festival in Madison. I was leaving, and I was talking to Brett on the phone on the way out, and this woman looks at me, and she said, well, I don't want to interrupt your phone call. I said, no, free hug overrides my phone call. So I just dropped my phone from my ear and gave her a big hug, and then started walking and got back on the phone. And I think that really surprised her that I was willing to interrupt a phone call I was having to show a complete stranger affection and care and involvement, and to say I see you, even if it's for that little moment, and I'll probably never see them again. But, it's funny, when I wear the free hug shirts, I get these looks from people. They'll kind of look up, and they'll smile, and they'll look down. They don't want the hug. I think they like the idea of doing it, but again, there's that social stigma of hugging strangers that aren't, your family or your significant other. And, how do we break that down as a culture? When does it become okay to hug my male friends, to hold their hands, to walk arm in arm? So many other cultures do it, but in the United States, it's just so frowned upon. But yeah, that's the little bit of a thing about affection I want to talk about. So if you're one of my friends and you're listening, yeah, I'd like to show you more, but I can't. And not just because of society, because I'm afraid what some of my friends will think, because it's an unusual thing, and it's certainly not mainstream, and it's certainly, but I think if we showed each other more affection, little touches, hugs, hand holdings, walking hand in hand, arm in arm, if we showed more of that among our friends, again, for me, this is all about making the world smaller. If we can show that affection to our friends, and then they start showing it to their friends, and you know what I mean? But, it's all about making the world smaller and better, and there's no need for any of the hate, any of the anger, any of the animosity we have towards other people in this world. Anytime someone's treated as less than human, the world breaks a little. And I see it every day, all day on the news. So, get a free hug shirt. Give everybody hugs. Hug your family. Hug your friends. I just passed the 5-year anniversary for both my father's death and my mother's death. And so I don't get those hugs anymore. But I try to give them to strangers because I need the hug. And every time I give a hug, get a free hug shirt, I always say, thank you so much, I needed that. They always kind of look at me funny like, wait a minute, you gave me the hug. I'm like, yeah, but you hugged me back. And that's the cool thing. So I'll stop rambling now. So yeah, affection. Show it for the world, show it for your loved ones, show it for yourself. Well, thank you for listening to episode 9 of the Doug in a Pub podcast. Before I close this one out, I have that app on my phone. It's a questions app, and I just did a random question to see if it'd be interesting. The question was, what's the biggest thing holding mankind back right now? For me, that's a really easy one to answer. It's fear. Fear, fear, fear. We're afraid of everything. We're afraid of, look at what the United States government is doing. All they are is fear mongers. You got to be afraid of the immigrants coming across the borders, but only if they're, people of color. Those people from Europe that are coming over, they're fine. We're not going to worry about those people. But yeah, it's fear. We're afraid to make mistakes. We're afraid to be ourselves. We're afraid to show affection. We're afraid to make mistakes. We're afraid to say I was wrong. So yeah, it's fear. That's the biggest thing holding everybody on this planet back is fear. And it's one thing I've tried to do is eliminate that. And for me, it's minimizing my ego has eliminated the majority of my fears. I live a relatively fear-free life now. There are very few things that cause me fear even heights don't scare me anymore, which is completely unintended consequence of learning to let go of myself and let go of my ego was not being afraid of heights. I don't know how that happened. It did. It's weird. But biggest thing holding mankind back right now, fear. Learn to put it away. Learn that fear can be used as a motivator. The same hormonal actions and a lot of the same brain things go on when you're excited as when you're fearful. So try to start rephrasing, my God, I'm scared, into, wow, I seem to be really excited. Again, so much is word choice and how you phrase things and perspective. So next time you're really afraid, try to step back from it and go, maybe I'm just really excited. And it's just misfiring a little, and it's showing up as fear. But thank you again for listening. If you want to be on the show as a guest, let me know. I have a really good software package to bring anybody in from around the world. Works really nice. Use it a few times now. If you have any questions, you can email me at doug@douginapub.com. Go to my website, spread the word. Would love to talk to more people, love to get more questions. You can literally ask me anything. I will answer any question to the best of my ability. Again, life is a team sport. Just trying to figure out how to get through this thing, and the more we all work together, the easier it gets for everybody. So coming up again, I have an interview with Jessica Jones from Giant Jones Brewing here in Madison, Wisconsin. I have an interview with Dave, one of the owners of Brickstore Pub in Atlanta, Georgia, one of my all-time favorite bars. We had a really good conversation. He gave me some really amazing beers. Yeah, and then I'm going to talk to Brett some more on some upcoming episodes and just see where this thing takes us. So thanks again. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.